most important rule, like, which you can consider, like, you know, so we have seen few of the methods that we can, sorry, not this one, so which we have seen. So as part of that, and okay, we have created few activities, right? Like, yeah. So this one, and then, set personal details and some validate loan details, where in which, like, we were actually setting some error messages if that existing person, let's say existing user, is trying to take loan, like, let's say I am applying for a home loan, and then but I already exist, I mean, already have a home loan in other two banks, then, I should not be able to, I'm not eligible for taking a loan. So all that same thing that, we can easily able to validate with the help of an activity. Okay, and then where in which we have seen all these things, labels to jump, what is the meaning of this, then the loop, all we have seen in the last session, what does loop mean, and then we have seen the difference between local and pattern, like, again, the very important stuff. So, I mean, it might can ask, like, I mean, so let's say going for an interview, that they might can ask you what is the difference between local and pattern, basically. And then, and then so today, we'll talk about a few other important methods, like, which is called as OBJ methods. Okay, and like, yeah, and from activity, let's say if you want to call, like, we have discussed about decision rules, right? And those decision rules we can easily call from an activity too. So, but for that, like, we have methods called as property dash map dash decision table. So here we go. So now this is a decision table. So now let's say if you want to evaluate few things, like, let's say for example, you are setting some parameters here, and then parameters you can pass it to decision table, and based on the decision table, you can return some value. For example, let's say, we are setting some values on the prior steps, and then, we can call that. In the similar way, you can call decision tree by using this decision, sorry, property dash map that decision tree, and then the decision map on a map value rule also that you can call it here. So these are the few no methods that you have it. And again, like, this is again few of the interviewer can ask here, okay, can we call decision table or decision tree, like, from a activity or not, so all that you need to say that yes, you can, but the uh method name is this, and, like, I mean, a property dash map dash decision table and decision tree. So, okay, so these are the methods, like, I'm just introducing you so that you can, you all will know it. Okay, like, we can use basically, that decisions. We can call decision rules, from an so or because in the because as part of our decision sessions, we were only calling decision rules from a flow shape, right? That for decision shape, but here is another place, where you can call it. Even in fact, from data transform also you can call it, I mean, that, by using a function, obtain value function. But yeah, okay, then we will come to those things later, like, once we move on to some other stuff. Okay, so now, okay, so as part of our requirement today, like, what we'll do is, like, let's say I'm applying for a loan. Okay, okay, so now I want to show, like, let's say in the first screen itself, like, I just want the first screen, wherein which as soon as the user comes here, he should be able to see, okay, in the last 7 days, did he apply, or did he or did she apply for any loan or not? Like, for example, like, I mean, what I'm doing, I'm creating a loan application, right? So, let's say last 7 days, how many loan application that I have requested, that. So how can we do that? So one thing is that, so one thing that we can do is, I mean, we can get, like, I mean, all this data basically where the data is stored, so, I mean, we can write SQL query and, get that data and store it over here. But we can do that, by using an activity too. Okay, so we'll see that, like, how can we do that. So that, for that, like, what we will do is we'll write an activity. Okay, before that, loan process, like, what I'll do is I'll create one screen just below it, assignment shape. Okay, so these are the basic things that I'm creating it. So we know that flow actions and all that cycle that we already know it. So here we go. Okay, so now this is a screen where that, I want to show to the customer, okay, before applying it, okay, like, these are the ones. So I'll just keep the heading to this last, okay, let's say last loan details. Okay, I'll submit that, I'll save it, and I'll save the flow action too. And similarly, I'll save this flow too. Okay, so now if I'll apply for a loan, then what will happen is, now that first screen is displaying like this, of course there is no data yet. So for that we have to write an activity, and then we know that something if you want to display before the screen loads or the section loads, then we have one option in flow action which is called as a pre-processing, from where either we can call a data transform or you can call a data activity too. Okay, so now we'll call an activity here. So let me name that activity name as fetch past loan details. Okay, here we go. So now I've created this activity. So now we know it. Okay, these are the steps. So now, so in Pega, let's say whenever that you have to fetch details from the table, so there is one important methods that we have, like, which is called as OBJ methods. Like, so if you type OBJ here, and if you place the downward key, then the Pega will show you all the OBJ methods that are available in Pega: OBJ browse, OBJ delete, OBJ delete by handle, and all the stuff. So, we'll see it, like, most of them, like what they are. Okay. So now, okay, so now, what we'll do is, we'll say to the Pega, okay, like, this activity has to fetch the record from the table, right? So for that, like, the Pega will ask you, okay, like, I'll fetch the details, but where should I keep the details? So for that, what you have to do is, like, we can just create a temporary page, or page list basically. So where in which we can say that, no, you have to get the details and keep it over here. So let's say, for example, I'm creating some temp loan details page. And then the class name is this. And then also, because we'll be getting multiple details. So, okay, so now, like, we'll use that Pega's out of the box page list. So whenever there is a page list, like, PX results. Okay, so whenever, like, you have whenever, like, there is you have a requirement, like, you're using, or you want to fetch multiple records from the table. So this is the first in the pages and classes. You need to define these pages and you have to define some pages and classes. So here is this, like, and then basically the PX results, like, PX result is out of the box page list, where in which it will store all the details. Like, for example, there are 7 times that I've applied for a loan, or, like, for example, let's say, like, in the in any IRCTC application, if you book railway tickets or book my show, or or let's say make my trip, like, or go IBO, let's see, you can see that in the last month, like, how what my transactions are, like that, right? So in a similar way, this is the what we can show it. So this is a page, and now this will become the code dash pega dash list. And the reason why I'm giving code dash pega dash list, because if you open this PX results, the PX results will be of class, like, the page definition will be code dash pega dash list only, so here it is, and then it is created under this loan dash pega dash list, basically. Okay, so that's the reason, like, this is the one, and then inside that, like that. Okay, so it will confuse you a little bit in the initial days, but again, like, so just don't discourage that, it's a difficult thing, but it's the simplest thing, but all that, we need to concentrate on it. That's it. So here my pages and classes are done. So now I can say to the Pega, okay, like, I have to create a new page. Okay, so now for that, Pega has one method which is called as a page new. So now what the Pega will do, like, so now we'll create this new page. Okay, and then And then after that, we have one method which is called as a obj browse. So the name itself suggests, right? Browse. Browse means it will fetch the details for you from the table. And then okay, and then after fetching the details, the Pega will store that in this page. Okay, then that's the reason I'm specifying this in the step page. And then if you expand this one, which is browse, and again the Pega will ask you for the page name, so you can just keep the same page name here as well. And then the Pega will ask you which class instances that you want to fetch. So now we know that our loan details basically are the instances of this loan details class, right? If you click on that, so our all these instances, whatever the loan application that we are, loan application that that customer is applying for, so they are all the instances of this loan process class, right? So now we'll copy the same class here. Will they say to the Pega, okay, Pega, like just get me the detail instances of this class, and then max records, how many records that you want to fetch. So how many records that you want to fetch? Let's say for now, I want to fetch only 5 records. Okay, and then is there any filter, that you want to do? Let's say if you want to fetch all the 5 records, like, like that, or you want to fetch based on the date, time, and all the stuff. Like let's say, or you want to fetch only those records whose name is equals to Pankaj, or where I have or where I have booked a ticket for Mumbai, or where I booked a ticket for Chennai, something like that. So either that filter, it's very much equivalent to that we put where clause, right, in the SQL. Like let's say if you put select star from employee table, so it will fetch you all the details. But whereas if you say select star from employee table where age is greater than 35, so it will give you, I mean, that query will return only that employee details whose age is greater than 35, right? So it is similar to that. This is this is optional stuff. Either you can place it or not. For now, let's say I'll say that px create date time. So px create date time means only those instances, like which is greater than or equals to and like that. So ends with all that thing, we can do that. Okay, and then and also, like I can say the sorting. Okay, the sorting means ascending order or descending order. So let's say I want to fetch ascending order, and then I'll make it to 10. Okay, I'll save it. So now, okay, so now, like I'm fetching the details in the sorted order. So this is the one, because we have to create a new temporary pages. So I'm creating a new temporary page here, so that in that temporary page I can get the data here, basically. So like that. So like because we have to tell the Pega, right, and aware that I mean, like of course the Pega will fetch the details using this method, but where will it keep the data in the clipboard? So we are saying to the Pega, like keep it on this temporary page. That's it. And before that, I'm just creating this new page in the system, basically, by using this page new method. Yeah. Okay. So now, we can just also test this also. I mean, by clicking on this run. So just if you click on run, and then here, so you can see that it's success. I mean, something, everything went well. And also, if you want to see the records, like what all those records that it got fetched, so you can see that data in the XML format as well. For that we have one method which is called as a show page. I mean, like that. Then the show page, like it will display the data in the XML format. So if you keep here, it will save it, and now then if you run it, you can see that, like you got the data I mean the XML format, and some date, so you can see that it's fetching all that pre-create date time, and all the stuff. It is giving you the data over here. So, and like that. So in the similar way, then, like in the similar way, like let's say I want to fetch other data too. I mean, now let's say I want to fetch the PYID. Okay, so it will fetch the PYD as well. PYD means nothing but, like this L-17092. And then in the similar way, we can fetch other details too, like I mean loan amount, loan details, like that. Let's say mm, okay, loan amount, let's say loan type. Okay, and loan type I want to fetch only when it is not null. Yeah. Okay. That's it. So okay, so this one, like, I'll come to this later, like, because I mean, this error, you can see the error message, right? Just remember this, like, that exposed columns, okay? So, so you can see that the Pega didn't throw the error message for these two properties, but for this property, the Pega has thrown you the error, all right? So, because this property we have created, in the similar way, let's say, like, if I use any of the other property, like, I mean, Pega's out of the box property. For this also, the Pega will not throw any error. You can see that. So now again, if I'll keep it, so, because these are not exposed properties, so I don't want to confuse you, with all that other concepts too, like, that is comes under the reporting topic. So once we cover the reporting topic, and that time, like, I'll cover it more details. What is that exposed meaning means? Okay, for now, just remember that obj browse, if you want to fetch any details from the table, obj browse is a method that, which will, help you to do that. And now, so this page, same thing, we can display it on the UI too. So what we can do is we'll go to our section rule, and then what I'll do is I'll just drag this table, and then before that, in the pages and classes, give the same details what you have given in that activity. Okay, and then once your job is done, so just copy it and give this as a source here. That's it. And then, you can just copy all that columns here, text area, and PYID, then add a new column. Okay, and this is not needed, so I'm deleting it. I'll save it. So now let's see our progress. I mean, our loan process is looking or not. Okay, so yeah, so it didn't. I've just figured it out. Like, why didn't it fetch it? Fetch the record. Okay, so so best way is to just. Oh, okay. I have to just comment the show page one. Okay, so now, like, so now it will come. Okay, so okay, so okay, so now I can see that, I mean, we are getting the records. I mean, something might have gone wrong in my activity, like, I mean, that in my referencing routes and all the stuff. So, but you can see that all the records that we are getting it, like, over here, like, PX results one, the PYID, like, is this, and the PZSK is this, and the PX creation date time is, and this date we have created this ID. And the reason, I mean, we have done, like, 10 as the maximum record. So here is the one, like, it's that only it is fetching the 10 records. Okay, so these are the, like, so Okay, so now, okay, so we'll see that later, like, why that is becoming like, I mean, not displaying, on the UI basically. So, yeah, but yeah, the concepts is the same, like, so how, like, how, like, because the reason is like, because I want to, cover other OBJ methods, so I don't want to, waste time on that UI display. But all that I want to concentrate on, the main thing is that, how we can fetch the data from the table by using this obj browse method. Okay, and then after that, then after that, let's say we have one more method which is called as obj, obj delete and all the stuff. So for example, if I show you the activity, uh, here delete, like, so now, like, I mean, for now, like, let's say these are some instances, lone instances, right? So these many lone instances are there, we have created till now. So what will happen is, let's say all these instances will store in a table. All right, so now let's say your requirement is that, you have to delete all the old data. I mean, the last, like, I mean, the oldest 10 data that you want to delete it. So how can you delete it from the record? So that also we can do it from the activity. So first, like, same here, like, creating a new page, like, and then after creating and same, like, data, page the classes, we'll just specify that. And then we are browsing the data and the browsing. So here I've given the max 30 records. And then px create date time ascending, like, I mean, ascending descending, like, based on that last 10 records that you want to fetch it. And then after that, okay, after that, like, once this, like, once you get the data, just keep a loop on it, because you have to loop like all that, let's say, let's say all like last 30 data, last 30 records that you want to delete it, right? So all that one, you can delete it. You can just property set it, like, I've just created one local variable. Inside the local variable, keep the pgins key, and once the pgins key got it, you can delete, like, so obj delete by handle is basically it will delete the instances, like, for example, any record that you want to delete the table from the table, basically, it's a name itself suggests, right? So something, if you browse, if you want to fetch the data from the table, so we have obj browse, but something you want to delete the data from the table, you have obj delete. Okay, so and then obj, there are two methods, obj delete and obj delete by handle. So obj delete by handle, we use it when we have the when we know the primary key of that, table. Let's say we know that, okay, what is the primary key of the table. I mean, I cannot say that, okay, delete I cannot use this obj open by handle. By we can say that, okay, delete that instance where the name is equal to Pankaj. So it will not, this method is not helpful to do that. For that, we have another method which is called as obj delete, like that. So this is a method for doing that, like, so it will basically delete all those, record. But no, I like that. But here, obj delete by handle, you have to do it only when you know that correct, which row, like, which rows that you want to delete, and that row primary key that you know it. So here, like, this is the primary key, so I'm copying it over here and I'm passing this primary key to this method. Then only this Pega is able to delete it, otherwise the Pega won't be able to delete it. But if you don't have the primary key of those records and all those stuff, so don't worry, like, this is the method. obj delete is the method, will do your job. And then once it will just, like, for example, if if we fetch 10 records, it will loop, the third step will loop three times, and it will fetch one records at a time. And after that, like, the fourth step is commit. Commit, we all know, right? I mean, it's a SQL also, we write commit. I mean, because after doing operation, like, committing means finalize, like, I mean, that all the records that we have deleted it, and that's it. And then this is the most important thing, like the page remove. So now if I'll comment this step, okay, now if I'll save it, now just keep the warnings. Okay, now Pega is saying that this record has two severe warnings. All right, so now if I'll save it, so now you can see that the record has three severe warnings. Okay, so now the page demo is the most important step, like, like, you can because what happens is, like, whenever, let's say now I have two activities, right? One is this, where I'm creating this new page, and then there is one more activity, which is here also I'm creating a new page. So what will happen ultimately is, let's say there are thousands activity are there, and thousand activity I'm doing page new for all my all requirements. So what will happen, all this page basically will get stored in the clipboard. So all this, like, clipboard will store all those data. So ultimately what will happen is when my processing is done, so clipboard will become very heavy. Okay, so in that case, my performance will go slow. So you have to make sure that your clipboard is very lightweight, as part of their processing. Of course, the end users won't be able to use the clipboard and all the stuff, but all they will complain you, okay, like, in the first two screen, like process is very fast, but when I'm moving to the third, fourth screen, the process is becoming very slow. And one of the reason it could be this. Like, I mean, I mean, basically, like if your lead, I mean, smart, like, he will figure it out, as part of the code review only. But if he misses it, like not only it will cause the performance issue, but like, I mean, let's say you don't remove the page, and then I'm using the same temp page in some other purpose. So what will happen is, like, so it might, my data can override, so I've seen two three production issues, like severe production issues, the only when, like, I mean, and the root cause was simple, like, the page remove wasn't there. So that's a, like that. So whenever, I'm not saying that whenever you create a page new, just create a page new, page remove, but something, any unwanted page. For example, after this, let's say, like, now if you logically, if you think that, so now I've created a new page, and I got the data inside this page, I deleted it, and then after that, you see that, is there a purpose of this? I mean, is there any purpose of this page? No, right? I mean, we don't have to do anything after this, like, because whatever that I have to achieve, like, deleting the record, everything I've done it. So now this page is no longer needed. So just, use this page remove. So now I'll show you the warning also. So the warning is, yes. So here is like temp page. You can see that were created in this activity, but not removed. So you can see that, like, the warning has increased. So I mean, again, as I said, right? I mean, if it's needed, just justify it. Otherwise, like, just don't keep your warnings, unjustified. So now I'll just remove this comment step and I'll save it back. You can see that the warning is again from 3 to 2. So now let's test this one. So now let's say, now we have like these two pages, right? So now let me, what I'll do is, here I'll say, I want to delete 50 records. So now let me just run this activity. So it's success. And it also, like, now again, if I'll go back to this, so now you can see that, like, earlier we were having two pages, all right? So now, like, it's only one page, and now remaining only, I guess, 20 to 30 records. Again, I want to delete this record, so I'll just keep it as 30. Okay, and then I'll run this. It's success. And also now again, if I'll go back and refresh this, so now I can see that, like, I mean, there's no record. Like, I've deleted all the instances, like, we have created till now. So and how we have deleted it, like, with the help of this obj delete by handle. Okay, so till now, like, we have seen that methods called as a property set. We know that what it does, like, and then page set messages, and page set messages, property set messages. Then okay, and then what else? That, okay, page new, we have seen today as a page new. Page remove, what it will do, it will remove the page from the clipboard. And then page new, page remove, then obj browse, it will fetch the data from the table. Obj delete, basically it will delete the instance from the table. And then or any record or delete. Okay, and then what else? Page new, page browse. Oh yeah, and show page, like, it will, I mean, whatever the data, basically, like, it there in the clipboard, like, I mean, sorry, in the page, you want to show it. I mean, you want to see it in the no, XML format, just to verify whether your data is coming or not, like that. So till now, like, we have seen these methods, okay, and slash obj delete by handle. Yes. So it will do that. Let's say, for example, here in the PYID, if I'll say that I want to fetch only that whose ID is, let's say, L dash, some 002. So if I'll save it, so it will get only that instance. Is that? But if you have seen that there is an error which Pega is showing that, for example, if I'll give that loan, let's say like what loan details he has entered, what loan type that he has entered, and all the stuff, or what is his first. No, it won't fetch. Yes. So you have to fetch here. You have to display here like what all details that you have to fetch. It's very much equivalent to like let's say select the query. So, yep, so that's that. So for that, you have to tell to the Pega. Like, how can you tell to the Pega? Like, let's say I've given A, B, and C, and D. So now let's say if you want to make it to add, so just here you can see the logic, right? So you can say that A and B and C, like that. So here you can do that basically.
Okay.
So that logic you can place it here. Yeah. Okay, and okay, I'll refresh that. Okay, and then we'll come to another, and then we have seen the call method too. Okay, the call method means like, if you want to call any other activity from one activity, we can use the call method. Okay, and then there is one more method which is called as a branch. Okay, and yeah, we have seen few more methods, right? Property dash map dash decision table, and then similar way, let's say like, decision, property dash map that decision tree. So I'm just noting it down so that we'll just get to know like, what are, and these are some important methods basically, like, so property dash map value, like that. Okay, and then, yeah. Okay, so now we'll see one more method, which is called as a obj open. Okay, and another like very famous question of it. They were like, what is the difference between OBJ browse and OBJ open? Basically, both of them used to like use to fetch the details from the tables only. Both of them do the same job basically. So now, and we have one more method which is called as OBJ delete by handle. Sorry, OBJ open by handle. Okay, so now okay, so now this data, basically this OBJ open, like basically it will fetch you only like it fetches only one record. Only one record. So and if it retrieves or it fetches multiple records, that's the only difference between the OBJ browse and OBJ which fetches like multiple multiple records. It can be 100, 200, 300, or 1, 2, depending upon your table record basically, or depending upon the conditions that you have given. So that's the only difference between this OBJ open or OBJ browse. For example, let's say I have a requirement that let's say like this is a data type which we can create it as a temporary table. So now let's say I've created one temporary table as let's say bank details. Okay, don't worry, like I'll cover this uh, things too. Okay, bank details. Let's say it's ID, bank name, and bank location, bank head office. Okay, so now I've just created one temporary table. I mean, it's a local table basically. And then I'll add some records. Okay, and I'll say that this is a primary key of the table. I'll submit this, and now I'll add like a 01 bank head office. Let's say it's in Hyderabad, and then bank location is also in Hyderabad, and then the bank name is, let's say, ICICI. Two, let's say Chennai. Okay, and then and then it's Jimmy, and then it's, let's say, HDFC. Okay, bank, and then okay, I'm adding only 3 records for now. Three, and then it's, let's say it's Bangalore. It's Kotak Bank. Okay, so so here is the 3 records that I've added it. So now my requirement is that, I have to again, I have a, let's say, screen already, right? So now in this screen, basically in this section, basically what I want is I have to show some details. Let's delete this for now, and also delete this too. So now let's say I have created this field, and here it is. Like, let's say I'm creating one bank ID property. Okay, and our train, I mean, yeah, this meeting might can end soon, so we'll just join back by the time, we'll okay, so bank ID, and then what I want is just below that there is a button. So I'll just give the label as fetch bank details, and then again I want this layout, line grid triple. Okay, and then I want all those properties, like, I mean, like our bank ID and all those stuff. So